What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Slash. I got the DVD right here. There's the cover. We got the back. So yeah, I just randomly picked this up. I picked it up a couple months ago. I was browsing eBay and just looking for random movies, and I stumbled across this, and I saw the cover. I thought, hey, that's kind of a cool cover, and then I looked this movie up, and I'm like, oh, killer scarecrow slasher film. That's right up my alley. Let me pick it up. I got it cheap, and I like. It's always fun just kind of picking up movies blind. It's like when you would go to like the video store. You just see a movie, you see the cover, and you think it's interesting or intriguing. So you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go in blind, get this movie based off the cover, and see how it turns out. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, I don't know. So yeah, I like doing that. I just like finding random movies I've never heard of before, picking them up, checking them out. So yeah, I checked this out, and you know what? This was one of the instances where you go in blind, and it was not a good time. So I didn't go in with I didn't go into this movie with high expectations. It's a low budget, direct to DVD horror film, but I thought, maybe there's some fun to be had in this movie. That was not the case for me personally. I really did not enjoy this movie. I thought it was just very bland and boring and generic, which is kind of unfortunate because it actually did have some unique and interesting concepts sprinkled throughout, but they didn't do anything fresh with it. It was just kind of basic. So yeah, I was not a big fan of this. Now I'm gonna give you all a little plot summary. So at the beginning of the movie, we see the main character Mac, but he's a little kid, and he's in this barn, and his grandfather has all these dead bodies hooked up to tubes, and he's like siphoning the blood out of their body, and Mac, when he's a little kid, he's snooping on his grandfather, and he's like, what the heck, what is he doing in here? Why, what's up with all these dead bodies? Why is he sucking the blood out of them? And Mac's grandfather realizes there's someone in the barn, and he doesn't want anyone to find out what he's doing, so he comes after Mac, and he knocks over this lantern, and it's like an old school lantern where it has a flame in it instead of a light, and Mac's grandfather burns to a crisp, and then after that opening sequence, some people are killed by a scarecrow, and we're introduced to Mac as an adult, and he is in this band. The reason I keep calling him Mac is because that's what it said on Google. On the back of the DVD, it says his name's Joseph McDonald, but I forgot what they referred to him in this movie. I don't remember like a lot of people's names. A lot of this movie was like forgettable. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe I'm a simpleton for not remembering all this stuff, but I'm just gonna refer to him as Mac. So anyways, some people are killed by Scarecrow, and then we see Mac. He's all grown up. He's in this band, and they get done playing a show, and one of Mac's distant relatives comes through, and he's like, hey, one of your relatives died, come back to the old farm for the funeral. So him and his bandmates, they go to this funeral at this barn with Mac's family, and while they're there, they pretty much get stuck there. Their like tour bus is tampered with, so they can't leave, and they start getting picked off by some scarecrow killer. So that is the basic plot summary for you all. Now, the first point that I want to get into is I already touched on this briefly in my little intro, but yeah, this movie was bland, it was boring, and in my opinion, the characters were super lame. And you know, I'm a big slasher fan. I watch countless slasher movies. It's like my favorite horror subgenre. And so I know, you know, slasher movies, they don't have complex characters, and in my opinion, they don't need complex characters. They don't need character development. Like you just need some characters to get picked off for the most part. But at the same time, like the characters have to be likable. They have to be engaging. They gotta be fun. You know, these characters, I don't remember anyone's name. The lead in this he was so boring. Mac, he was just completely just boring. I don't know. Like I don't know how else to say it. He was like he never cracked a smile, and he was just like, I don't know. He like lacked charisma. Like I just didn't like, this is supposed to be the lead, and this guy's just a total dud. He's just boring. Like I don't know. Like he was like a piece of cardboard. Like I don't know. Like I didn't care about any of these characters. You know, that's the thing. Like I said, you don't need complex characters, but at least like have some funny, random, wacky characters. Like these characters, they just played it so straight. They were just so effing boring, and they're like supposed to be in a band. They could have been like fun. There were like a couple fun, silly instances where they're like, you know, smoking weed and drinking and joking around and, you know, drinking moonshine and stuff. And there's this one guy, like the lead guitarist. He was kind of funny. He would just have sex with groupies like midway through their performance, and then just like get on stage and do his thing. So I guess there were like a couple funny instances, but for the most part, the characters in this were lame. Jumping into another point, the body count in this was low, and the kills were not really that good. I feel like there were like, in this movie there were like 4 main kills, I believe, and which is not that much, and the kills were not good. Like the first couple kills were decent. There was some blood. You actually got to see everything. They weren't just cutaways. So initially I was like, okay, maybe this is gonna have decent kills, but most of the other kills were just so bland, so boring. There was one kill that I actually really did like. It was super creative, and you actually got to see everything. It was kind of gory. There's this piece of farm equipment. They refer to it as they either called it a thrasher or a slasher, but it's the giant piece of farm equipment that you ride in, like you drive it, and it cuts down all the hay. And this one person gets killed by that. They're like chopped up by the blades. They're sucked in, and they're like spit out, and they just be like, their remains are spit out, and they're like completely, their whole body is completely grinded down into like a paste. That kill was awesome, and it was cool because, you know, it kind of went really well with like the farm setting. Like, yeah, like you might as well do some cool kills with some farm equipment if you're like a farm centric horror movie about a scarecrow. So I thought that was awesome. That was a beautiful kill. It totally like worked with the setting. That was great, but most of the kills in this were not good, and there weren't that many, you know. And there's this one kill that I thought was weird. So this one band member, he plays the keyboard, and he does backup vocals too. His kill, the way that they shot it, it was so weird. It was like an overhead view, like a they must use like a crane or something, and it was like probably 15 or 20 feet away, which is fine if part of the kill is filmed like that, but that the entire kill was just like this overhead view 15 feet away, and the scarecrow is, you know, hacking him to death with like a scythe. And the whole time I was watching that kill play out, I was like, okay, they're probably gonna do a close-up eventually, right? Like any second now there's gonna be a close-up. Like there weren't even any cuts. It was just like you saw that overhead view from far away, and he's getting hacked up, and then it cuts to the next scene. There were no cuts, there were no close-ups. You gotta at least have one close-up. And even if it's a cutaway kill, even if they don't have the budget to show the gore, like at least show a close-up of his reaction. You know, have him like screaming or something like that. Like get a close-up of his face like in total shock and pain. But no. So yeah, I thought that kill was pretty lame, and the way it was shot was strange in my opinion. So yeah, I wasn't really feeling that. And the last point I have here is just about the overall look of the movie, and the way that this movie was color graded. The whole movie had this gray tone, and personally I was not a fan of that. In a lot of these slasher movies, horror movies from the early 2000s, from like 2001 to around like 2004, a lot of that era of horror movies, they have kind of like a bright tone to them, they're color graded in a way where the movie has like a yellowish, orangish tinge to it, and I like that. A lot of people probably hate that, and they're like, why is this horror movie so bright? But I don't know, something about that look, like they only really did that in the early 2000s. I kind of like that look. I like how that era of movies was color graded like that. I don't know why I like it, but to me it just looks good. This movie just had a total gray look, and it's like it just all of it like it just didn't work. You had this gray looking movie with these bland characters, like I don't know. It was just it didn't work. It was just boring. I don't know. I feel like I don't have like much to say about this movie. Like I'm not saying anything. I'm not getting like too in depth in this video, but I don't know. I just like didn't take a lot away from this movie. Like there wasn't that much going on. Even though I watched it last night and it's fresh in my mind, like I don't remember a lot of the finer details. Yeah, this was not my cup of tea, so I would not recommend this. It's so generic. There's really nothing to it. Like I said, I thought the concept of, you know, centering around a rock band, that was cool. That was unique. You know, like a lot of slasher movies just focus on a random group of teenagers, a random group of school kids. The whole rock band angle was fresh, and I did appreciate that. And the whole concept of someone harvesting people's blood to use to almost fertilize the crops, I thought that was pretty unique and interesting as well. But even though there were a couple, you know, unique and interesting concepts, they weren't enough to save the movie. The movie overall was just very boring and bland. So I know I've said that 50,000 times. You know, I wish I could say more about this movie. I'm sorry if this isn't, you know, the best review or the best video, but I don't know. I just don't have much to say about this movie. So yeah, I would not recommend this. It's not worth your time. But if even after hearing all this, you're still interested in watching it, because at the end of the day, this is just my opinion. You know, you might like this movie. I didn't like it at all, but you know, a lot of people probably do like this movie. So, you know, if after hearing me say all this bad stuff about the movie, you still think you might want to watch it, the whole movie is on YouTube for free. So if you are curious, it's on it's on YouTube. You don't have to pay money. You can watch it. So yeah, but yeah, I personally would not recommend it. So that's my review. That's everything I have to say about Slash. I'm gonna head out here. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.